Hey guys! Welcome to our channel, and today we're going to read a story about a Chow Chow and the morning alarm. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button. Leave a comment for the wonderful artists who made this video. And don't forget to subscribe so you can be alerted when we upload new videos every day. The alarm buzzed loudly. The Chow Chow groaned, rolling over with a big sigh. But the cat had other plans. She leapt onto his back, kneading and purring until he stood up. Together, they nudged their human awake. Forget snooze buttons. This was the fluffiest alarm clock in the world. The sun was just beginning to peek over the horizon when the cat, whose name was Mittens, decided it was time to wake up. She stretched and yawned, then padded over to her human's bed and began to paw at his face. The human, a young man named Tom, groaned and turned away from her, burying his head under the covers. Mittens wasn't having it though. She wanted to play, so she began to bat at his ears with her paws. Now, usually Tom would just swat at her and tell her to go away, but today he actually wanted to sleep in. So he reached out and grabbed her, holding her close for a moment before placing her gently on the floor. "Go get Winston," he mumbled. "He'll help me wake up." Mittens trotted out of the room and down the hall to where Winston, the Chow Chow, was sleeping. Now Winston was a big dog, almost as big as Tom in fact. He had a thick, fluffy coat that looked like a cloud and a tail that never seemed to stop wagging. Mittens jumped up on his back and began to knead her paws into his fur. "Get up, Winston," she meowed. "It's time to wake up." Winston groaned and rolled over, but Mittens wasn't having it. She continued to knead and purr until he stood up. Then she jumped off his back and nudged him in the ribs with her head. Winston understood. It was time to get up. He thumped his tail against the floor and followed Mittens back to Tom's bedroom. Tom was still asleep, so Winston nudged him with his nose. Tom mumbled, opening one eye. 5 more minutes, he said, closing his eye again. Winston barked once, then twice. Tom opened his eyes. Okay, he said, sitting up. "I'm up." Winston wagged his tail and licked Tom's face, while Mittens rubbed against his legs, purring loudly. Tom scratched behind Winston's ears and stroked Mittens' fur. "You guys are the best alarm clocks a guy could ask for," he said with a smile. After getting dressed, Tom poured some food into Winston's bowl and scratched Mittens behind the ears. She purred louder. Then the three of them went out the door and into the morning sunshine. As they walked, Winston sniffed at everything. He loved the smell of the outdoors. Birds tweeting, flowers blooming, squirrels scampering up trees. Everything was so interesting to him. Mittens, on the other hand, preferred to stay close to Tom. She liked the sound of birds, but she didn't like to be too far from her human. Tom didn't mind. He liked having her close. They walked for a while in comfortable silence, enjoying the beautiful day. Finally, they arrived at their destination, the park. Tom sat down on a bench and watched as Winston and Mittens played. They chased each other around, wrestled in the grass, and barked at the squirrels. Tom smiled. His two best friends were having the time of their lives. He threw a ball for Winston, who caught it in his mouth and brought it back. Then he scratched Mittens behind the ears. She purred and rubbed against his leg. Winston came over and nudged Tom with his nose. "What is it, boy?" Tom asked. Winston barked once and looked toward the trees. "You want to go over there?" Tom asked. Winston barked again and wagged his tail. "Okay, let's go." They walked over to the trees, and Tom saw a family of rabbits sitting on the ground. Winston wanted to chase them, but Tom held him back. No, boy, that's mean," he said. "Let's not disturb them." Winston whined, but he listened and stayed by Tom's side. As they walked back to the bench, Mittens jumped up on Tom's lap and purred. "I love this park," she said. "Me too," Tom replied. stroking her fur. It's a great place to relax and enjoy nature. Just then, a little girl ran up to them. "Oh, hi, doggy," she said, petting Winston. "And what's your name?" "Mittens," the cat replied. "Mittens?" the girl repeated. "That's a pretty name." The girl's mother came over and knelt down in front of Winston. "What a big, beautiful dog you have, sir," she said to Tom. "Thank you," Tom replied. "He's a Chow Chow." "Do you have a dog, ma'am?" "Yes, we do," the woman said. "She's at home, though. We couldn't bring her because she's not very good with other dogs." "Oh, I understand," Tom said. "Winston can be a bit much sometimes." The woman laughed. "Well, it was nice meeting you and your dog, sir. We'll be on our way now." "Okay, bye," Tom said as the woman and her daughter walked away. Winston barked once, then laid down on the ground. "What is it, boy?" Tom asked. Winston looked at Tom and then toward the trees. "You want to go see the rabbits again?" Tom asked. Winston barked and wagged his tail. "All right, let's go," Tom said with a smile. This time, Winston didn't try to chase the rabbits. He just stood and barked at them a few times, which made them all run away. Then he came back to Tom and sat down. "Good boy," Tom said, scratching him behind the ears. Winston closed his eyes and relaxed. Mittens jumped down from Tom's lap and curled up next to Winston. She snuggled up to his warm body and purred. Tom smiled and watched as his two best friends fell asleep in the afternoon sun. He loved having them by his side. They made every day an adventure. He scratched Winston behind the ears and stroked Mittens' fur. "You guys are the best," he whispered. "The best alarm clocks a guy could ask for." And that's our story for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you can be alerted when we upload new videos every day. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. When the alarm clock rang at 6:30 a.m., Winston simply thumped his tail against the mattress, hoping his human wouldn't hear the sound. But when the soft fabric of the comforter was lifted, Winston knew any hope of a few more moments of slumber were dashed. He gave a big, sleepy sigh and lumbered out of bed, padding silently behind his human. He understood his role in the household. When he and Mittens, the sleek grey cat, accompanied their human on his morning rounds, the quiet house echoed with the gentle thud of their paws on the hardwood floor. It was a comforting routine they shared, a silent acknowledgement of the bond they had formed. In the kitchen, Winston's keen sense of smell detected the familiar aroma of bacon sizzling in the pan, and his tail thumped against the floor in anticipation. Meanwhile, Mittens gracefully leaped onto the counter, her emerald green eyes fixed on the culinary delights being prepared. Winston, unable to resist the temptation of a countertop treat, stood on his hind legs and stretched out his front paws, hoping for a tasty morsel. After breakfast, it was time for Winston and Mittens to accompany their human on his daily walk. As they stepped outside, Winston strained at his leash, eager to explore the world beyond their yard. The crisp morning air filled his lungs as he bounded ahead, his tongue lolling out in pure joy. Mittens, ever the adventurer, stalked proudly beside him, her lithe body weaving in and out of his long strides. Upon returning home, Winston and Mittens enjoyed a well-earned rest, each finding their favorite spot for a midday nap. Winston curled up on his dog bed, his deep chest rising and falling in a peaceful rhythm. Mittens chose a patch of sunlight streaming through the window, her rhythmic purring a testament to her contentment. As the afternoon wore on, the house seemed unusually quiet, without the sounds of their human's footsteps. Winston, normally a picture of canine composure, began to stir with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Mittens, ever attuned to Winston's energy, stretched languidly and joined him by the window, Her ears pricked in the direction of the front door. The absence of their human's familiar key in the lock sent a wave of unease through them. Winston, driven by his protective instincts, paced restlessly around the house, occasionally letting out a low throaty growl. Mittens, sensing Winston's anxiety, rubbed against his leg, her presence a source of comfort in the unsettling quiet. The minutes ticked by, each one amplifying their worry. Winston pressed his nose against the window, his keen eyes scanning the street for any sign of their human's return. Mittens, perched on the windowsill, mirrored his vigil, her gaze unwavering. As darkness began to fall, casting long shadows across the room, Winston's unease grew. The silence was now heavy with worry, and the shadows seemed to dance with unseen menace. Mittens, sensing Winston's escalating distress, nuzzled against him, her purr a soothing balm in the midst of his turmoil. Suddenly, the sound of a key turning in the lock broke the silence, sending a jolt of relief through Winston and Mittens. Their human was home. The door swung open and their human stepped in, his face etched with fatigue. Winston, unable to contain himself, barked joyfully, his earlier anxiety forgotten. Mittens, equally overjoyed, rubbed against his legs, her purrs vibrating with relief. Their human, understanding the depth of their worry, knelt down and wrapped his arms around Winston, burying his face in the dog's thick fur. "I'm sorry I was gone so long, boy," he murmured, his voice husky with emotion. Winston licked away his human's tears, his tail wagging furiously. Mittens, too, found her way into their human's embrace, her purring adding harmony to their reunion. In that moment of unity, they realized that their bond transcended mere companionship. They were a family, united by love, loyalty, and an unwavering commitment to each other.